Good morning, Rabbi Isai. Lili Nishmas Mimir. See, off of a song, it goes a lot better. David's back. David Belly Shlita. Here you see Shimi Shuwax from Antwerp, who's a fantastic musician, had a small break during a wedding, and look what he's doing not to miss the daf. It's amazing. It's tremendous Kiddush Hashem. It was at the wedding of Rav Padwa Shlita, his daughter, who got married last night. Rav Padwa was the Rav Shemir Das Antwerp, spoke at the Simon Zvachim, even though he's not invited to speak or come to the Simon Menachos. He made a point to come and visit for a few minutes to show covet to Lem de Torah and to show how he's machshiv Torah. Shreini Yoshvi Antwerp, as leaders like this, like that, without Yeshir, we would not see that. So it's in your schus. Best regards, Itzi Eisenthal. Shkoyach Rabbi Itzi. Mordechai Linhard, I like this a lot. I just joined them in the wife with Chullin. I must say that it's really enjoy it very much. Though I learn every day, I never really had a regular schedule for learning Shas. Being a meshgiach kasher with a busy schedule, traveling all over the world, finding additional time to learn Daf Yomi is a challenge. Check this out. A person puts up a Shalom Aleichem. What's your name? Shalom Aleichem. From? Passaic. Person puts up a sign in China, and he gets this guy to learn Torah. The other week I was in China, and I saw an MDY poster in the Sephardi Shul of Shanghai. I said to myself, why not try it? So when I found out that Chullin was about to start, I took it upon myself. As the famous says go, just do it. I haven't missed the daf since, and when traveling I make sure to download the shir in advance so that I can watch or listen to it on the way during the flight. Of course, I do also join the live shir via Zoom whenever possible. Thank you for making the shir so interesting, for getting people excited about learning the daf every day. May Hashem bless you with much koyach and good health to continue teaching the Daf Yomi for many years to come. Ad Meh V'Esrim. Baruch V'Atzlacha. Mordechai Moshe Linhard attaches a picture my colleagues took of me watching his shir during one of my many flights. Here he is. Shanghai. Okay, I'll try to remember. Very nice. This one, he's on Zoom right now. Rabbi Isai, take a look. I don't know. Could you put him on Zoom? Let's see if Gary could work the magic. This one was hard to read. Huh? You can't?
No video on.
Oh, his video's not on, but he sees his name. Oh, no, so put him on. Shalom Aleichem. MS, you saw it in China? It sounds like Givaldic. Wow. Okay, Kol Hakavod, thank you for joining us. I enjoy this year very much, and I've been learning since Seder Nezik, and I also feel like this guy, Nebuch, he can't sit idle and not point this out. Eitan G was promised a helicopter ride if he does Shnai Mikra Vechel Targum and Sefer Bereshis over a year and a half ago. Now, what's so difficult? He says, I feel bad for this person. It's very difficult for me when so much time out of your shiurim are taken up with trips and talking about them. Safari, Morocco, the Alps. All this time and money spent on personal enjoyment. When there's an unfulfilled promise, Mamish hurts in this guy, Nebuch. I Mamish feel. I don't know. I think he hijacked the name because if he's the consortium,
then we don't want the consortium.
Sincerely, consortium. This is one of the people I was speaking about yesterday. The shtickle kinna. It hurts, the kinna. It's hard to deal with. Dear Rebelli, many say, why should I be the one to worry about putting status videos on my phone? Let the other guy do it. Today, after putting status on my phone since the Durham, 57, it paid off. Louis Fallman, the owner of J2 Pizza in Lakewood, tells me due to status, he's watching the shir. He sends you warm regards. So guys, let's get status going. You tell him, Arnon Aronov, Nedarim, 57. Official edition, MDY Shas Mesechta Zevin Yal Shulov. Daf Chovtes by Aaron Korda in honor of Shoshana Bat Sadi Aleh Shalom. The Mesechta, the entire Mesechta. David Salomon, we have to make a distinction between the official Shas and the Mesechta. I don't know how to do it exactly. Maybe somebody could come up. One is the Meyer official edition.
One's the Masechta.
There's the sheer sponsor.
David Salomon, in dedicated memory of Avi Meyer, Reb Shmuel Baruch ben Reb Chaim Tzvi Dov Zichron Livracha. The Masechta is sponsored by the Palchik Family Foundation in gratitude to Consortium VOS. In gratitude to the Consortium and the Alliance and all they do to support MDY. Anonymous, and thank you to Chief Benny. Anonymous for complete refuah shtema. Arichas Yomim Taleo Bas Esther. B'Yomin Daniel Rosenfeld Brios V'Simcha. Amen. Monthly sponsors Ari Simon refuah shtema Avi Mori Baruch Ben Miriam. B'Yomin Daniel Rosenfeld Parnas B'Shefa.
So now we know the consortium is 8IG.
I don't know who it is.
It's very simple. The consortium always pays money to put their ads on it. So look at the people that are not the consortium.
It sounds like you know something we don't know. Anonymous before Shlema for Rabbi Yeruchim ben Yehudis and Avram Yeshaya ben Slava Dvora. Amen. For Shlema, the Spanish here sponsors wishing them the wife family continues Tatzlacha and Siyata Dishmaya. Anonymous Hoydel Hashem Ki Toiv Ki Loilam Chazdoi. We had a pretty good meeting yesterday doing the same thing that the Spanish people are doing. Do it in French. So see how that works. There's more French speakers than Spanish speakers in the world. That's what they say. Anonymous. Robert Early, Preston Harris Group Recruitment, make money from the shear and give back to the shear. I didn't see the email yet. I don't know what he's talking about. HYK Ventures in the schus for success of all our clients. Binyamin Daniel Rosenfeld, Bracha Beparnasa. That's a Kyle sponsor of the month. MDY Kids sponsor monthly. Innovations LC has schus for Akiva Simcha Ben Fego. And Rav Yehud is Batsi Afachayo. MDY Art month. For Shlema Yonatan Eitan Ben Beshav Bracha. For Shlema Mordechai Ben Esther. For Sayela Daniel Zeb Ben Ayel Esther. 8 minutes into the shir, can't believe it. Anybody want to shmooze about anything for 4 minutes? Rabbi Isai, we have a very exciting daf. The real consortium, says Mark Ashkenazi, the real consortium capitalizes the C, always. Okay, so now we know. That guy hijacked the name. Rabbi said, check this out. Today we're going to be learning about Mechza al Mechza. A lot of different sugyas today. Mechza al Mechza is if something is exactly 50%, do we count it as a roiv or not? Exactly 50%. And then the Gemara takes that back and says only by carbon paste we have something similar to that. Also in the Mishnah we mentioned the concept of roiv. That shechita has to be the majority of one of the simanim, 51%, but it says it twice. Why does it say it twice? And the Gemara goes on a very lengthy discussion. We know why it says it twice. One is Chullin, one is Kachim, but that the first one is Chullin, the second one is Kachim, a whole long discussion. And finally, we have a very interesting sugya about when you do shechita, do we consider the entire process part of the shechita, every cut of the knife, or it's the final cut? Shechita metchila v'atzayif. A sugya, giving you the heads up. So we're going to start this sugya, and the Gemara regrets it right away. I mean, it takes a couple of minutes, but the Gemara is going to take it back because you're going to be shocked when you hear Chachi echad ba'oif, like 10 lines in the bottom. Itmar, Rav Omar, Mechza karoiv. Shock, a bomb. If you shecht 50% of the kana or 50% of the veshet by a bird, that's enough. 50% is like we'll count it, we'll consider it the majority. Good. A bunch of questions on that. Rav Kahana, this makes more sense to us. No, well, if the Torah says 50% roiv, so it's roiv. What do you mean 50%? You need 51%. Rav Omar, so Rav will explain. Rav Omar mechza karoiv. This is what HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Moshe Rabbeinu on Har Sinai. Lo teshai ruba. He didn't tell him how much you should shecht. He told him how much you shouldn't leave. Do not leave 51% unshechted. Meaning, if you shecht 50%, that's okay. Rav Kahana Omar, no. Mechza karoiv. HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Moshe Rabbeinu, shchait ruba. You should shecht 51%. Just to break it up a little bit, we just started. There was a Maisa Shahaya where a Shoichet, he felt like he wasn't, there was too much resting on his shoulders. Like there's all these chsherim and is it kosher, not kosher. So he decided to become a Rebbe in a cheder. So somebody said, well, what are you doing? He says, it's too much. He says, listen, it's better if you shecht animals than shecht kids. Oh. Simin Chatzi Ketino Gargeres Pgima. Tanan. Chatzi Echad Ba'oif Vechad Vechetzi Bebehema Shchitasi Psula. So here's the obvious question from the Mishnah yesterday. It says Mefurish that a half a simin by a bird is puzzle. 1.5 simonim by a behema, puzzle. Why? You need roiv of each simin. You need a roiv of the kana. It says Mefurish in the Mishnah Chatzi. But according to Rav that says Chatzi, 50% is like 51%. Am I puzzle? Why is it possible? Why does the Mishnah say it's possible? 50% is counted as 51%. That's exactly what Rav says. Mechza kiroiv. 50-50 is like 51%. Says the Gemara, no. Rav, we could answer this. It's not, we're trying to put him in a corner and force him into a checkmate. No, it's not a checkmate. I could get my way out of this. I could say, midrabanan. The Mishnah means that 50% is usher to shech like that midrabanan. What would be the nafkamina if it's the rabbanan deraisa? The deraisa mamish would takes away all the tumah of the nevela, and the rabbanan came and said don't eat it, but it's not tumah. But if it's literally not a good shechita, like we would hold, it's only 50% shechita, then it doesn't remove the tumah at all. Why do the rabbanan say don't do it? Because how could you be so exact? 50%, maybe you won't even get to 50%, maybe you did 49%. So they said stay away from 50, do 51%. Okay, another try at knocking this. Oh, so this is a halacha by klicheres. Let's say you have a piece of earthenware, you have an oven. How do you take away the tumah from an oven? The only way to do is break it. And the only type of break is if the break is less than half. Because if you have a large piece that's 50% or more, then it's considered an oven. You could maybe bake something in that oven. What happens if a guy breaks it and there's two pieces? 50-50. Exactly 50%. So the Gemara says it's impossible. That's exactly what the Gemara says. And what if it is possible? What if it is? You're a lawyer. What if it is possible? What if I have a CNC machine that cuts exactly? Oh, maybe Yosef Irvin could help. I was looking for the word. Oh, there's a word in a variance, maybe. I forgot what the word is when they cut parts for missiles and for spaceships. Tolerance. Who said tolerance? Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. The tolerance. Like the 100th, 1,000th of an inch, 1,000,000th of an inch, the tolerance. Oh.
It goes in ppm, parts per million.
Parts per million. That's in the tolerance? Yeah. Tolerance is parts per million? Okay. But in that, the word I was looking for is tolerance. Correct. Thank you. What if you broke a kli cheres, an earthenware piece, and it's exactly 50-50? Did you remove the tumah or not? Shneim tmeim. It happens to be that in this room, I guarantee you there's nobody here that could break a matzah in the little seder like I do. I'm 50-50 every year. Ask my kids. You all have this mishagas. Sit there.
It's not supposed to be 50-50.
What should I do if it always happens? What should I do? I don't even try and it happens. I'm that good. Hand, what machine? Who eats machine matzah at the Leila Seder? I'm talking about hand matzah round from Satmar. It's as is like this, and you go cluck, and your mishpach has they're like this for half the Seder. Which one is it? The right or the left? Oh, there's somebody once said that if you have to measure which one is larger, then it's not larger. If you're coming on it, it's not, then it's not large. Okay, so chalak al-ishnayim. I don't want to hear your emails that you're better than me in it. You're not better. I was just kidding. This year, Taket, Mamish Noirvayim. They right away said it was a bad year. Lefi she'iev shel tzamtzem. Oh, chalo yishnayim v'im shovim shneim tmeim. Lefi she'iev shel tzamtzem. It's impossible. A lot of times the Gemara says the Shita. It's impossible to do something 50-50. It's always going to be 49.9999. and the other one is going to be 50.1. It doesn't, but you're never going to get it exact. And that's why we can't consider either one of them less than a half. But let's say you have a tolerance machine of 10 million per what? ppm. It's mashma tahirim. It would be tahir. Amai tahirim. But according to Rav, 50% on the dot equals 50% on the dot. Lefi Rav equals 51%. So amai tahirim. Zilhacha yekiruba. Each piece, when you look at each piece, okay, it's exactly 50%. But exactly 50% is 51%. And therefore, they shouldn't be tar. Omar Rav Papa, so Rav Papa says a beautiful svara here. It's impossible to view each half as 51%. Because that's a contradiction. You can't have two halves that are 51%, because that equals 102%. And that's impossible. When you have two contradictory things in front of you, you can't say, oh, they both equal 51%. So when it comes to one kli, you can't say that. Where could you say it? In shchita. In shchita, where the Torah says shech the half, I don't care about the other half. The other half is not, if I'm going to view both halves of this pipe, half is cut and half is not, then you have a problem. This is 51% and this half is 51%. So you have 102% of a pipe. But the Torah doesn't say, look at this left part. The half that I'm not shechting. The Torah says only look at the half that I'm shechting, says Rashi. I focus on one half. And that one half is 50%. And halachically it's considered 51% according to Rav. Tashma. Again, Rav, the Gemara wants to say that Rav holds that when it comes to shechita, if a person shechted 50%, it's good enough. It's as if he did 51%. The lashon literally, it's as if he has a roiv. Tashma, shochad chatzi geres. Oh, so let's do this about pet. Because I think it's very important that the Oilam remembers this halacha. I saw yesterday the Oilam struggled in both shiurim. Even though I was promised by my chavrusa that everybody's going to know it because he made a whole big deal out of it. The what? If a person shechts the breathing pipe, the trachea, he shechts 49% of it, goes home, takes a 6-hour nap, is over on all sorts of tzar belachaim, but that's not the point. And he wakes up from his nap, and he continues shechting, and he goes through the trachea completely, and he goes into the veshet also. Is it a good shechita or not good shechita? Is it a kosher or a treif?
Yes.
What if he did 50%? If he did 50% and he went to sleep. So the question is, on 50%, according to Rav, what you're telling me, according to Rav, 50% equals 51%. So if he shechts 50%, he just made a treifa. He just did 51%, and he went to sleep. What is that called? Shehiyah. After he started a real shechita, because he did 51%. If he did less than 51%, so he made a hole in the animal's trachea. It's not the end of the world. The animal could live. It's not a treifa. But if he did 51%, and then he went to sleep, that's called shehiyah. And that should be treif. Yet we say, Shachat chatzi gargeres, the last words on Amud Beis. If he shechted 50% of the breathing pipe of the trachea, v'shaba kedei shchita acheres u'gemara, and he waited around for 2 minutes, or he took a 6-hour nap, whichever one. But he paused, shchitasoi, and then u'gemara, and then he later on he finished it up. Shchitasik sheira. The shechita is kosher. But if you tell me 50% is considered 51%, itarvala. As soon as he did that, he made it treif. Now, Rabbi Isai, I just want to show you what she is for a second. We had a terrible incident here in the shir, and this is what they're showing now. Some individual, a British individual, Barabim, screamed out the word weiter. I don't want to remind the Olam, it was a terrible incident. And I had to make a macha. So over here we have a British bird doing something terrible. Okay, we're gonna be Masat. Listen, we're gonna do tshuva for this person, for this individual. But what does shehiyah mean? Shehiyah means don't wait, and if you wait, you have to say weiter. Okay, here we go. Weiter! B'chutz Chutzif. This is not how you say weiter. This is how you say weiter.
Weiter.
So that's Shehiyah.
That's a very interesting way to learn how to say Shia. Now we got it.
I don't even know if you could say it like that. The end. Yes. What do you do over there? Wow, yeah, Shanim. It's many years of practice. Okay. Oh, misarves bebehema. You think we're talking about an animal here? Loi beoif. Mimanav shach. The more the Kamaisa, Maisa here in Eretz Yisrael, a Haredi guy decided to pretend that he's not Haredi, and he got on a radio station, and he's gonna give it to the one of the politicians. So he gets on. They said, "Yeah, what's your name?" He said, "Tomer." Where would he live? In kibbutz, somewhere, whatever. Nagda, I don't know what. Yeah, kibbutz. No, what do you have to say? He says, this Lapid guy, Mimanav Shach, if he's... okay, fine. Blew his cover in the first second he started speaking. Mimanav Shach. So you tell Israeli, I don't think they know what that word means. Do they? No, not mamish. Mimanav Shach. So he says very simple. By bird, all you have to shecht is one siman. If you only shechted 50%, you decide what you want to call it. If you think 50% is enough, like Rav, like the Havamina and Rav, Havale Ruba, great, so you can take a nap now. Why can't he take a nap? He already shechted this bird. It's already shechted. And if 50% is only 50%, it's not 51%, he didn't do anything. We're not talking about a behemoth, we're talking about a bird, which only needs one simon. Okay, so again, Tashma, one more try to knock this Rav out. That what? Rav says, Havamin and Rav. It's a pelodic thing. The mechzo, 50-50. If 50% shchita is considered 51%, it's a good shchita. Tashma, Aresho Yechetzi Kone Pogum. You started doing shchita, you notice that his trachea is already severed by 50%. And all you did, you took a knife and you shechted 1%. Now you have a trachea that shechted 51%. Shchitasik sheira, it's a good shchita. But according to your Havamin and Rav, that 50% is considered 51%. Shreifa Havia, you started off with an animal that has a cut trachea, 51%. Omarava. Shani le'inyan treifa de'b'in roiv anir le'nayim. No, maybe I could say, and when it comes to a treifa, I need to be able to see with my own eyes. Shchita is one thing. 50% is considered 51%. But when I look at a treifa, I need to see with my own eyes. I don't have to use a magnifying glass to see whether or not I did a roiv, if there's a roiv treifa. I need to be able to see it with my eyes. Amalei Abaye, what you're saying doesn't make sense. So I have a simple kavachomer according to you. Umat treifa, the mashu mitarfa. We have situations like this. Remember, everybody, when it comes to the esophagus, the veshet, the eating pipe, over there, you don't need to roiv anything. One tiny hole makes it treif. So when it comes to treifa, a small pinhole could also make it treif. But when it comes to the breathing tube, that you need a roiv. All of a sudden, when you need 51%, all of a sudden you need to be able to see it. So Memela, I'm going to tell you, shchita da'ad ikeru with kashra, but shchita that to begin with, a pinhole never works. You always need a roiv, like kolshke, to be in a roiv anir le'nayim. So certainly by shchita, it doesn't make sense. Your logic doesn't work here. If in a place where a treifa could be even ben mashu, yet when a certain treifa you need a roiv, you need to be able to see the roiv. So something that always needs a roiv, like shchita always needs 51%, so certainly you should have to see with your own eyes. So now the Gemara says you're right. This whole sugya, let's toss away. Chas shom, not toss away. This havamina, it never happened. Ela de kuliyama mechza mechza nikarev. There's no such thing that 50% is considered 51%. Nobody holds that. There's one place in the Torah that 50% is like a roiv. It's not a roiv. We'll consider it like a roiv. What's that place? The Rav Kahana Liyim Pesach Itmar. It's this week's parasha. Hareisha Yisrael Mechza Tohirim Mechza Tmeim. How does Klal Yisrael become half tar, half tamei? So the Gemara always says the Nasi died and people went to his levaya. Today we can understand it. Let's say Rabbi Vadia Yosef was nifter, so all the Sfardim go to the levaya. Half of Klal Yisrael go to the levaya, so they're all tamei, half stay at home. I happened to go. I think there was a lot of Ashkenazim there. I'm just saying, I don't know exactly how it happens, 50-50. But it's exactly 50-50. Now what's the halacha? And it's an interesting halacha because it wasn't given right away to Moshe Rabbeinu. It's after Klal Yisrael complained. They said, what should we do if we're tamei? So HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, Dabel b'nei Yisrael ish ish ki yetamei lo nefesh. And the Gemara dashes these words ish ish. So b'chodesh hasheni, not in Nisan, not Yudalad Nisan when everybody brings Korban Pesach, but in Yudalad Iyar, a month later, Babasa Yom and Arbaim Yazois Hamatzim Revichlu. Treat it, you get your own, because Klal Yisrael begged for it. When you beg for something, so HaKadosh Baruch Hu changed it. Hashem said, okay, fine, I'll give you something called Pesach Sheni. Now there's the famous halacha, Tumah Hutra B'tzibur, which was said about Korban Pesach. What does that mean? That if 51% of Klal Yisrael is tamei, then Klal Yisrael brings the Korban Pesach b'tumah. They could go to the Beis Hamikdash when the tamei. So, what happens if it's 50-50? We said you need a roiv. On this comes Rav and says 50% is enough to bring a Korban Pesach when that 50% is tamei. Rav Amar Mechza Mechza Karoiv. We'll treat it like a roiv, but not mamish roiv. Rav Kahana Amar Mechza Mechza ain't a roiv. Rav Kahana says no, you need 51%. And what's taka pshat? It's not pshat that I view 50% as 51%. What's my time of the Rav? The chsiv ish ish ki yetamei lo nefesh. Why does it say twice ish ish? Ish nitcha ve'in tzibur nitchin. 50% is considered a tzibur. Not so much a roiv as a tzibur. It's not a yochid, it's a tzibur. And when you have a tzibur, then they can do b'tumah. So if you have 50-50, let's go back just for a second just to finish that off. 50-50. The 50% that's tahar, they should do it b'tahara. The 50% that's tamei should do it b'tumah. Rav Kahana that says that I don't treat the 50% as a tzibur, so what happens? They have to wait till the next month. That whole 50% of Klal Yisrael has to wait a whole month. Just a super interesting halacha of the Rambam. He says, well, how are you going to count all of Klal Yisrael? How do you know what a roiv is? How tamei not? He says, but I don't think they're passing like him. You base it on who came to the Beis Hamikdash. Somebody asked a good question. Why would a tamei person come to the Beis Hamikdash? Whoever came to Shecht. FOMO. No, he says FOMO. Why would, if you're tamei you can't Shecht, why would you come to show up so they count you? Okay, whatever. Shalom Aleichem, what's your name? From where? Baltimore. Place needs chizuk, MDY, no? Stark. You're there once in a while. You don't even know. That's even a bigger problem. We got to chazuk it. Okay, Shalom Aleichem. Shkoyach for coming. Who else is a guest? Oh, Jonathan Stefansky. Pointing at other people. Mayor, who's Mayor? Mayor, what's your name? From? Shalom Aleichem. Welcome, welcome. Oh, yeah, this is the guy. I saw you a bunch of times. What's your name? From? Moshe Shulgatz from Monsey. Shalom Aleichem. From what?
Monsey, one location where half of our attendees are from New Square. We're within a mile.
Really? Wow. What? You have a location? What kind of location? What is it?
Satellite.
Mamish. Monsey, one location. I got to be on top of this. But most of the people are from New Square. Half.
Right.
I'm assuming. I just read this week the article about the Square Rebbe in what was it, Mishpacha Rami? I don't remember. And it said it was supposed to be. They filed it as New Skvira, but the mamish like when the Jews came into Ellis Island, they changed it New Square. What's Skvira? So they did New Square. So it's New Square. Send regards to the island over there. No, you have Chizuk. I got it. Okay. Rabbi Sai. It's not even on me. Here, Gary, thank you. Oh, you're good. Rabbi Sai in New Square or Monsey 1. Be mechazik do'el, keep on coming there. If you're never there, show up. Give them chizuk. Okay, shkoyach. Roy Vechaboif. Bezer Hashem. I just asked yesterday, what's the first location in Eretz Yisrael? He said, just last night I asked him Chasim. We have 33 stark locations. Some of these locations have 30 people a night. So Bezer Hashem by you guys. Yeah. Roy Muncie, one should post on their status. Okay, give out. Muncie 1. Okay, now we know. Muncie 1. I like it. Three brothers?
Yaakov Iskowitz is our uncle.
Reb Yaakov Iskowitz.
Reb Yaakov Iskowitz.
Yeah.
Ishkovitz. My fourth brother is not.
He's hiding. Why is he hiding over there? Shalom Aleichem. That's my spot over there. You know that. I also hide over there. Shalom Aleichem. And where's the third brother?
No, so there's 5 of us.
Yeah.
My brother lives in Chavi, is making his first bar mitzvah.
Mazel tov.
Came in from America.
Givaldik. Okay. That's why. Tell him we usually don't give such airtime, but the color of Itzkowitz and the brothers. Okay, Mazel tov. Roy Vechadboif. All right. Simpler sugi over here. Check out this Mishnah. It might be looking confusing, but it's not. I just took the Mishnah, I put it over here. There's a Reish and a Seif in the Mishnah. All you need to see is the red words. It says in the beginning of the Mishnah, V'ruboy shel echad kamayu. 51% of one siman is like the whole thing. Ruboy, all you need is Roiv, the famous halach of Roiv. So then why in the world does it repeat itself in the Sefer and say, Roiv echad ba'oif? All you need is a Roiv. It says the idea of Roiv 2 times in the Mishnah. The Gemara is going to say that the first part, the Reisha, is talking about regular animals that you shecht at home, you shecht in a shlachtais. Chullin, Roiv is considered the whole thing. The bottom part is talking about the Beis HaMikdash. I would think that the Beis HaMikdash is different than Chullin. Okay. And then we have a long sugya, maybe 5 different Amoraim that come along and say, I can prove to you that the Reisha is talking about Chullin and the Seif is talking about Kachim, and not reverse. Very important to the Gemara to figure that out. Think about it. Are you able to figure it out? It's like a riddle. Which part is talking about Chullin and which part is talking about Kachim? That's the trick over here. So let's see inside. Roy Bechaboif. Ask the Gemara, Tanina Chot Zimna. We already. Why does it say at the Sefer, Roy Bechaboif, when I already said in the Reisha, V'ruboy shel echad kamayu, the same thing. Says the Gemara, Hekaish Peshach Siman. Omar, these are the names, so I guess there's 6. Omar Abishaya. The reason is because the Reisha or the Sefer, one of them is Chullin and one of them is Kachim. Utzrichan, a simple tzrichusa, which is a tzrichusa, and then the Gemara does the reverse of the same tzrichusa. You know, when you just shecht in a shlachtais, a roiv is enough. We know that in the Beis HaMikdash, the main part of the avodah, you do shchita, kabbalah, hilacha, and then you do zrika. Zrika is the number 1 thing of kapara. I need a lot of blood. I need blood, so therefore I have to do roiv. Aval kachim de ladam. Sorry. When it comes to Chullin, I don't need. It's enough to have a roiv. I don't need more because I don't need blood. Aval kachim de lamud tzarach. But when it comes to kachim, I need the blood. Notice the Gemara says, Chullin, it's enough roiv. Kachim, maybe I need 100%. And now the Gemara is going to do it slightly different. Now we're doing roiv, 51%. Kachim, I need 51%. Why? Because I need the blood. I'm going from 51% to 50. Before I went from 51% to 100%. And now I'm saying, I'm starting from a lower point. I'm saying, only kachim maybe you need a roiv, 51%. But Chullin, maybe I don't even need a roiv by Chullin. Why? Because I don't need the blood. Maybe 50% is enough. Kamash Malon. That's why I need 2 parts of the Mishnah. One is Chullin, one is kachim. Now the Gemara says, hey, b'Chullin and hey, b'kachim. You think, okay, so what's the difference? The Reisha, say, the Gemara makes a whole big to do out of this. Which one is Chullin, which one is kachim? Omer Rav Kahana, beautiful svara. Take a look. Look what it says, the first words. A bird you don't shecht. A bird you do malika to. If it's kachim. But if it's not kachim, it's hashoichet. It makes a lot of sense. So Meila, hashoichet echad ba'oiv is referring to not kachim, chulin, outside of the Beis Hamikdash. V'seifa b'kachim. No, so but let's look at the seifa. It doesn't say anything about malika in the seifa. So the Gemara addresses that. Sorry, let me just go back. So you're saying, okay, so the seifa b'kachim, the end is kachim. Shchitazik sherim, elagazik sherim b'ilei. How come it says the word shchita in the seifa instead of malika? Halek asher. I just saw him behema. Look, it says, look at I just highlighted the word behema and shchita at the bottom. And the seifa, it says roiv echad ba'if. Then it says behema shchita zikshera. The shchita is going on the word behema, but you can't say that in the reisha because the word bird goes on the shchita. Okay. Ela reisha michti aloivkai. That's the first word in the Mishnah. Over there, it's a bigger question. Why doesn't it say Malika? Okay, that's one svar. Now we go to the next. New sugya. Rav Shimi, Barashi, Omar. How do I know that the Reish is talking about Chullin and the Seifa? Kachim, Reish, B'chulim, Ha'achad. Diktani, Echad Ba'if. It says, Hashoichet Echad Ba'if. Now we know, in the Beis Hamikdash, there's two birds that you shecht. Chad is an oila. Chad is shecht one siman. Oila is shecht two. B'sogadaytach b'kachim, my goyel is ha'av, the Ba'ish Neisi Marim. That doesn't work with kachim. Elamai, save a kachim. So you tell me the end is kachim. Roiv echad ba'oif. Hay goyel esav. The Ba'ish Nesim. How come it says all in the seif? It says also echad ba'oif. Says Gemara, no, my roiv echad, roiv kol echad ve'echad. That's not a kash. In the seif one, it says roiv echad ba'oif means every single one of the simanim you should check the roiv. But in the reish you can't say that. It says hashoichet echad ba'oif. It's not talking about the roiv over there. It's talking about one simon. You're right. It should really say, if you want to be proper, it should have said a little better, Roiv Shnaim. But I couldn't say that. Why? But there's two types of birds. And one bird is called a chatas. And a chatas, all you have to do is shecht one simon. Therefore, it doesn't work. Rav Papa Omar, I'll prove to you that the reish is chul and the seif is kachim. In the reish it says, Rabbi Yehuda holds, you have to shecht the jugular. Upligi Rabban Alei. And Rabban Nar, you say you don't have to shech. If we're just talking about mundane, regular, like nowadays, you don't have to shech you don't have to cut the jugular. Great. It doesn't make any sense. Rabban shouldn't argue with you that they should say, yes, you have to cut the jugular. Why? The whole idea is to get more blood, so why not cut the jugular? I want to show you a video. Tell me what you hold, la halacha. If you didn't see this Gemara yesterday. If you didn't see this at all, you can answer. I want to know if what this guy is about to do, is it good or not? Kosher or not kosher, Rabbi Isai?
Not kosher.
Not kosher. Here's the person that was at the shir last night and he said the wrong answer. Okay, good. I like that. Not kosher. The answer is... Hello? No, this one, in order to know this one, you have to see the Gemara. It's kosher, bizman hazeh, bechulin, bizman Beis Hamikdash also, chulin, outside of the Beis Hamikdash. It's not kosher in the Beis Hamikdash. You cannot shecht two korbanos together, but you could shecht 25 behemoths. It's a great new system. They should line them all up. And Rabbi Weiss will come with a very long knife. One swoop, shkita, it's all great. Oh. Rashi Omar, save a kachim ha'acha.
There's a pagam in the knife.
No, that's only after. That's fine.
Oh, you mean if he shechted the whole thing?
No, that's fine. The next
We're not going into the details that he's chopped off the whole head, not. It's the point. And that they're all standing without a head. Okay, I have a lot of kashas in this video. Save a kachim ha'acha. Seifa b'kachim mahacha.
Give them a heads up. Sorry. Last year I'm mistaken.
You should. We're doing well. Once in a while there's a slip. I'm a couple slips. Seifa b'kachim mahacha. I'll prove to you that the Seifa is talking about kachim. Now, Rabbi Isai, in order to understand the sugya well, you just need to see this chart and everything makes sense. I just added to the Seifa, right below the Seifa, Mishnah Daf Lamed Amud Beis. This idea, this video that we just saw is the Mishnah in one daf from now. In other words, it's a continuation. In our Gemara, it's two separate Mishnayos. It happens to be one Mishnah. Now, it says over there that in the Beis Hamikdash you can't shech two heads in one shot. So it must be, it's a continuation of the Seifa. The Seifa is talking about the Beis Hamikdash, and the Mishnah, Daf Lamed says, oh, and if you shech two animals in one shot, it's no good. But if the Seifa is talking about Chullin in your backyard, then the Mishnah and Daf Lamed wouldn't continue and say, oh, you're not allowed to shech two animals, because you're allowed to shech two animals with one knife in your backyard. You look like you're not with me. Okay, great. So, were you like in Texas? For real? Welcome back. Welcome back. No, I just thought I didn't explain it well. Says the Gemara, it says if you shech two heads in one shot, it's kosher. But it's only after the fact. You shouldn't do it lechatchila. If Seifa, the purple, is talking about kachim, now I go to yellow and I continue with kachim. Yeah. But listen, at home, Chullin is 100% lechatchila good. Halacha number one, don't have two sheichtim, two kohanim holding on to one knife in shecht. One person should not shecht two animals in one shot. It's really a combination of two words because he holds Yesh Eim LeMesayres. We go by the way it's written in the Chumash, so it's Tizbachu. Tizbachu. Okay. But if the Seifa is actually talking about Chullin, then the continuation doesn't work well because now all of a sudden you have a continuation that's not accurate. It says Hashoichet, it's only B'di'evet. It works even in the first place. Okay, and finally, one more to prove that the Reisha is talking about Chullin and the Seifa is talking about Kachim. Nobody argues. Everybody agrees that the Reisha is Chullin and Seifa is Kachim. Even Reb Shimon Lakish. Here, let's just go back here. In this thing, it says Ruboy Shalachat Kamayu in the Reisha. He just repeats the question. So why does it say Roi Vechad Ba'oif? Why does the Mishnah repeat itself twice? The Kohen Gadol Yom Kippur, they bring him the Tamid. Karatzoy Merak. I love this lashon. It's like a new lashon to us. It's a lashon of Yuma. Karatzoy. He shechted a roiv. Umerak acher shchitasei ayadai. Comes another kohen, steps in and finishes it off. Why does another kohen step in and finish it off? Because the Kohen Gadol has to grab. Oh, Shalom Aleichem, Vasatzach from London. I saw you, but you're like not even a guest anymore. So, yeah, it's like Dove. They come every 2 months over here. What are you doing here? Why are you here?
Cousin of a friend, MD Wire.
Well, what? A chassan of an MD Wire?
Son, yeah. Son of Marshall, a cousin.
Beautiful. Mazel tov. Send them regards. Akol Ponim. Nachamol. The Kohen Gadol needs to do Kabbalah Saddam. So he starts the shechita, drops the knife, or passes it on to someone else, grabs the blood. And another guy finishes off the shechita. I would think, and he did Roiv shechita. He did Roiv. So it's enough. What if it seems like you need another kind to finish off the job? That's why I have the second save. That's why, let's go to the easier one. Hold on. It's easier to see it over here. That's why I have the sefer that says Roiv Echad Ba'oif, to tell me that it's enough for the Kohen Gadol to do Roiv, even the Beis Hamikdash with Tamid and Yom Kippur, that's enough. I don't need the second guy to finish off the job. It should be possible if you don't do it. I don't need the second person on Mamar. So why in the world is he there? He asked the Gemara, wait a minute. But now you have someone else performing an avodah. The Kohen Gadol has to perform all the avodas. Nobody could step in here. Maybe there's a little bit of a psul here. Why? Because he didn't cause all the blood to come out or whatever. But that's why I need the Mishnah to tell me that he didn't do anything at all. Nothing wrong with what the Kohen Gadol did, shechting a roiv and letting somebody else finish. But since there's no psul, there's nothing. So then why in the world do I need another kind to finish off the job? Mitzvah mark. In order to get all the blood out, I make sure I get another kain there to do it, but there's no psul, nothing. Turning of the daf by Adar Global, specialist in international financial services, Chaim Milrad, Nishmas Imam Mirosi, Faraeto Bas, Yitzchok, Allah Shalom. Zog the Gemara. Here's a question, Rabbi. Think about this question for a second. Somebody started shechting a sheep outside the Beis Hamikdash, outside in Bet Shemesh. He starts the process, starts cutting, and he finishes as he walks in the Beis Hamikdash. He's in the Beis Hamikdash in the Azar. He finishes. Where did he shecht this animal? Huh?
What was the case?
He started shechting. He did slice number 1 in Bet Shemesh, slice number 2 in the Beis Hamikdash. Yeah. He's schlepping him. Please don't answer if you learned the sugya. I don't. Yeah. That's right. No, what do you say, Gary? It's considered at the end. Why? So that's exactly the question. Yes, no, the shchita mitchila v'atzaif. Does the shchita start and end, and it's one long shchita? It's all a process shchita, and therefore it comes out that you shechten in Bet Shemesh, and you chayiv kares for shechting chutz lebeis hamikdash. Or no, we go by the last second, the last slice, and the last slice happened in a good place in the Beis Hamikdash. So I don't care where you started it.
The last slice of the rove.
Yeah, of course, you have the rove. Yeah, here we go. There's a little timer over there, so there's the shechim mitchilat soif, and the other clock only went at the last second. Okay, you want to see it again? This one. Look at the 2 clocks. One doesn't move. The one on the bottom doesn't move, only at the end, and one, it's a gauge. Sorry, gauge. I should call it a gauge. Miles per hour. Okay. So. Omar Reb Shimon Lakish Mishum Levi Saba. So we have a machlokes here, Shlakish and Reb Yochanan. He says in the name of Levi Saba. Eina l'shchita ela basoif. We had a sugya of ein l'schiras ela mitchil basoif ela basoif. When you pay rent, is it at the end? Does it work the whole throughout? Different shilas in Shas, the same idea. He says no, shchita is only at the tail end of the shchita, at the tail end of the roiv. Reb Yochanan Omar yesh l'shchita mitchil basoif. No. The entire process is part of the shechita. And the Gemara is going to explain what the nafkamina is. Goy. If siman number 1, a goy performed, v'siman echad Yisrael, everybody agrees that if the yid did the second siman, this is possible. Why? Shari nasa b'masa treifa biad goy. The Eino Yehudi, he performed a shechita, he cut the trachea, and he rendered it treifa right away. By the time the Jew got there, it was already treif because the goy shchita is not valid. Boila soif nami heicha de molak simen echad lamata simen echad lamala psula. I don't know if you could zoom in, Gary, into that mizbeach on that shelf over there. There's a red line on the mizbeach that divides the mizbeach in half. And are you able to zoom in? Yeah. Or Shamshi, you give it to me in Shalom Yisrael. Yeah, let's see. Prove. Oh. Just give it to me. Okay, shkoyach. Here's the red line. Is the red line. Chatos, you perform all the avodah below the red line. Oily, you perform above the red line. Another chatos oif. Another difference between a chatos oif and an oilas oif is that chatos oif we mentioned before, you only have to do malika on 1 siman. Oila, 2. So what if he was trying to do malika on an oila bird, and he did 1 siman below the red line, which is in the wrong place. But it's actually the place of the chatos. So the Gemara says, boilas oif nami, and you try to say that yeshna l'shchita mitchila vatsoif, that it's one long process, but in this case, everybody's going to agree it's no good. Boilas oif nami echad molek siman echad lamata. He shechted 1 or did malika to 1 siman below the red line, siman echad lamala psula. Why? It's as if you shechted a chatas below the red line. So where is the machlokes? Says Rav in the Havamim over here. If he shechted one siman outside of the Beis Hamikdash and one siman inside the Beis Hamikdash, since Rabbi Yochanan holds that the shechita starts all the way in the beginning and ends all the way at the end, so it comes out that he shechted one siman outside of the Beis Hamikdash, so he's chayiv kares for shechting outside of the Beis Hamikdash. But according to Rish Lakish, it's only the end part, and the end part was inside the Beis Hamikdash. The master didn't say that, what you just said. Umanu, who's the master? Rav Yosef. Rav Yosef didn't say what you just said. Do the same exact svara, Rabbi Say. If you shecht one siman of a chatas below the red line and one above the red line, you told me that it's 100% as if you shechted the chatas below the red line. So if you shecht one siman outside the Beis Hamikdash with a bird, and one siman inside the Beis Hamikdash, so it's as if you shechted the chatas outside of the Beis Hamikdash. So by chatas, you're able to, by oila sahiv, you're able to differentiate and say, oh, the first siman is considered a chatas, and you did it below the red line. Oh, so the first siman is considered a chatas, you did it outside the Beis Hamikdash. So that's outside. Oh, so what's the machlokes? And where do we have a differentiation between Yesh and Shechita and Tchila Vatsoy? Oh, we have a video. Now what if a person shechted some of the simanim outside the Beis Hamikdash, and then he got somehow into the Beis Hamikdash real quickly? Here we have it. He started the shechita, then he brings this non-moving sheep all the way to the Beis Hamikdash, and he's able to skateboard up the stairs, and then he does the rest. Oh, that in this case, this particular case, that's the machlokes. He started the shechita outside of the Beis Hamikdash and he finished it inside. According to Rabbi Yochanan, where did the shechita start? In the beginning of his skateboard ride, and therefore it's as if he shechted outside of the Beis Hamikdash, and he's chayiv kares for that. But according to Rish Lakish, in the name of Saba, what is his name? Levi Saba. It's only the end part. So he did great. He brought this animal half shechted into the Beis Hamikdash, shechted the rest. He's not chayiv anything. It's mamish moridik. Why? Because we're going through different sugis of Shas and learning these musagim over and over. And today we're going to add a little bit. When you shech the para aduma, listen to this. And this is halacha that we never spoke about. We barely spoke about. A para aduma is to make people tar. People that are tmei meis, they went to levaya. The only way for them to become tar, and that's why we have a problem today with tmei meis. We don't have a para aduma. You take the para aduma, you burn it, you take the ashes, you mix it with water. You sprinkle it on the person 2 times, and it becomes tar. This is a very fascinating halacha. If a guy is shechting a paraduma, and while he's shechting a paraduma, he text messages his wife, the paraduma is possible, you have to go pay another $4 million and buy another paraduma. If you do anything while you're performing the paraduma, no good. Now I also have to show you this, because the Gemara is going to say hazah. And usually hazah by paraduma means sprinkling of the water. In this case, it's not the sprinkling of the water, it's the sprinkling of the blood. One of the processes in the paraduma is the kind of take blood and sprinkle it towards the Beis Hamikdash. Here we go. This is an addition for today. They see a paraduma, beautiful red. Today, the machon for the Beis Hamikdash said there's no paradumas left anymore in the world. They all grew black hair, whatever, no more. They bring up these children that never see tumah in their life, and they put them on doors so they don't extend their hands beyond the door. He does shechita, grabs the blood, and he tosses it towards the Beis Hamikdash. That's when the Gemara now is going to say hazah, it means this. Now, while he's doing this, he does something else. He checks his phone. He slices a watermelon. It doesn't matter what. then he washes his finger on the paraduma. Fine. Whatever he does, he passes. In other words, the entire process of the paraduma, from the beginning, from the shechita, all the way to throwing the blood, to burning, the whole thing, you could ruin the paraduma. We all know, we learned in Cheder, that the paraduma has a what is it called? Diametrically opposed? Yeah, okay, whatever the fancy word is. On the one hand, it makes people that are tamei tahar a paradox. Oh, paradox. It's a paradox. The kohen who sprinkles the water on the person who's tamei, he becomes tamei. The person that's tamei becomes tar. The person that's tar becomes tamei. So very simple. Mazer Rebbe Zera, kol ha'asukim b'para mitchila v'at soif. Anybody involved in the paraduma, mitamim begodim, so their clothing becomes tamei. You have to literally take. You ever heard of such a thing? You take your clothing and put it in a mikvah, dunk it in a mikvah to make it tar. They obviously also have to go in the mikvah. They have to become tar. Upaisan oisa b'melacha acheres. Here's melacha acheres. The Rashi brings the gourd, so we're doing gourd. There's a restaurant in Chicago that has crazy amount of gourds. So as he's shechting, he also cuts a gourd. No good. So irba psul b'shchitasa. If the psul happened while he's shechting, we just showed what the psul is. What's the psul? He did another melacha while he's shechting. Bein koydem psula, bein la'achar psula. Let's think about it for a second. Was this paraduma a real paraduma at any point of its life? No. Why? Because you messed up on the first second of paraduma. When you shechted it, you messed up. So does the kohen performing the avodah in this paraduma, does it become tamei? No. Why? Because there's never paraduma. But you take it to the next step. We saw in the video, when does Azah come? 5 minutes later, after you grab the blood, then you take the blood and you sprinkle it. So there was a paraduma here for 5 minutes. It just what? Just the guy who sprinkled it, he cut a watermelon while he's sprinkling it. So he ruined it at that point. So anybody that dealt with this paraduma until that point became tamei. The Gemara just asks a simple thing. Why don't we talk about shechita? Let's say a guy was doing shechita for 5 minutes, back and forth, or he paused it, whatever, he went on a skateboard, a whole maisa. So you have the person who's tamei because he was doing shechita on a paraduma. You have a person who's doing shechita on a paraduma in minute number 5 who's not tamei because that's when he messed up. That's when he cut a gourd. So he's not tamei. In the shechita itself, according to Rabbi Yochanan, it's a very long process. And the whole thing is considered a shechita. So let's split the shechita. There's a person who becomes tamei from a paraduma in the shechita, and there's a person who's not tamei in the shechita. What's the obvious answer to that? That once you mess up at minute number 5, then minute number 1 never happened. It's one shechita. You messed up the shechita. The whole shechita was messed up. This paraduma was never shechted. So let's see inside. There should be machlokes in the shechita. If there was a psul in the shechita, he cut a watermelon while he was shechting. So it depends. Let's distinguish between before the watermelon and after the watermelon. Anybody that dealt with the shechita before the watermelon, his begadim become tamei like a psula. But after the watermelon, every time begadim. Amarava, and we're going to finish on with this. It's called the shechita kamers. You're talking about a shechita that's no good. When a person performs a shechita like that at the end, that becomes possible, he chopped a watermelon, then the entire shechita wasn't good. There's no 2 parts of that shechita. It's one no good shechita. Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful day, a good Shabbos, Motzi Shabbos at 10:02.
Merit the schus of spreading Torah throughout the world. Sponsor a shir today. MDYsponsor.com or sponsor at MDYDaf.com.